Hey YouTube, welcome back to a special episode of the Lincoln Williams Show. Now, today I'm going to be talking to you about one of the best clone systems that you can get for $130, and that is the Retron 5. The Retron 5 is a Genesis, Super Nintendo, Famacom, and Game Boy player. And what this seems to me is it's actually like an emulated, it's actually like an emulator system, but you're using the carts to play your games instead of emulating them off of the internet. Technically, it's still emulating, but you're actually getting the real experience by dumping the cartridges into the system and playing them that way. Now, I never actually owned a Super Nintendo or a regular Nintendo. So that's why I use the Retro Duo, basically, to play all my systems. But I think I'm going to upgrade from the Retro Duo to the Retron 5. Now what this means is not only that I'm going to get two systems that I've already owned already, I'm also going to get 3 additional gaming systems with the Retron 5. So that's Genesis, Super Nintendo, Famacom, and Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advanced. How cool is that, YouTubers? Some of you are saying, very cool. I mean, where can I get one? Well, the only thing is, Amazon sells them, and that's the only way you can get them cheapest. Like, that's the cheapest way to get a Retron 5 is go on Amazon and shop for them. Basically, the Retron 5 has a limited amount of features to it. They're also doing the original ports for the original systems. This already has the Super Nintendo port, as you can see, right into the system. It already has the Super Nintendo ports, but what they also added into the Retron 5 is it's a Nintendo port and a Genesis controller port. So not only you can use these controllers, but you can use these controllers for the rest of your time with the Retron 5. Now there's a special code that you got to operate with the home menu on the Retron 5 if you're using an NES or an SNES or a Genesis controller. Now that is start plus the down arrow on the D-pad. Yeah, that is a very helpful feature overall when you start up the system, and that is a really cool feature as well if you're using the NES controller for the rest of your gameplay through the NES library, if you want to turn off or turn on your system. But you have to hold the power button for 5 seconds. But on the updated version of the Retron 5, you can only hold it for like 1 second and it'll turn on. But if you already pre-ordered the Retron 5, you're gonna have to hold it for 5 seconds. So that's a little bit of a disappointment, but yeah. But the newer version of the Retron 5 has been upgraded. It has been, updated because of the 1 second press and the turn on the console and updated game library compatibility. Most games did not work when this was launched, but for now there are no issues with the Retron 5 at this moment. If you're a game collector and if you have 15 to 30 games in your collection that are like North American or Japanese, they're probably going to work for the system because it supports Famacom with it. Now I'm really excited about this feature because the Retro Duo with the NES sound, it was crap. The NES sound on the Retro Duo was crap, but I didn't really bother with it. And there was a special trick to get the NES sound better, but I don't want to tap into this system and fix it myself, because that would be a risky thing, and I don't want to do that. And so yeah, what I'm trying to say is they upgraded the NES sound on the Retron 5. Crisp, clear, it's there, it's all there, it's not crappy as like the Retro Duo, and you know, overall it's an impressive system overall. What else is there? Oh yeah, there's also going to be cheats where you can download. Now this is going to be a complicated thing for me because I haven't used a SD card yet, so if someone could teach me how to use an SD card properly, that would be pretty appreciated, because you can download updates on the Retron 5, but if your system has the recent update on it, then you're fine. And if everything is working perfectly, then you're fine. Now, here's the other thing with the SD card feature. You can do cheats on the Retron 5. I know that's crazy, but it's true. You can go to the cheat that you want and import it into the game and beat the game that way if you're stuck on a level. That is a really big thing because I'm kind of stuck on A Link to the Past. Well, I'm not stuck. It's just that I have to fight a bunch of enemies that take a little bit of Dark Souls counterattacks or something like that. I don't know how to explain it, but you know, I hate one of those moments when you can't beat a game. So for a very long time, but you beat the newer version. I beat the version A Link Between Worlds for the 3DS instead of A Link to the Past first. So yeah. So if you want to use cheats, it's going to be a little grinding to do so, but you can get cheats off of the Retron 5 website. They'll include it in the description. Yeah. Basically, what they added more to the Retron 5. Now, man, I did not know there was a... I did know there was a speed gameplay up feature, but I did not know that turbo boost was on the controller. Now, by pressing the turbo button on the controller, it could go really fast on the game. Now, if you're a Pokemon player and you have a lot of Pokemon games, this is going to be a really helpful feature to Retron 5 users, because if they have Pokemon, any Pokemon game, you can level up your Pokemon like really fast. And I tried this on the Game Boy emulator, and it actually worked really good on like my phone or my tablet. Actually, it was my iPad. I used my iPad to do that, and it was actually a really cool feature. So I highly recommend that if you're a Pokemon player, if you want to speed up time, then press the turbo button on your controller and do it that way, and level up your creatures like really fast, and max out like your beast and put them in and transfer that to the DS version of Pokemon. So that's a huge plus, but I really don't know how to do that yet. I haven't really heard that much information about the transfer, about the DS version and the Game Boy Advance version. So anyway, I haven't heard about that with the Retron 5 yet. But anyways, I said in my last video, NES and SNES Clone Systems video, that most of the Game Boy most of the games did not work. But in the recent updates, all of the games that I know of that are North American work. It's crazy. Even this thing did it, which is really crazy. So yeah. And I heard that Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, also works on this system. So yeah, I think Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse did not work on the Retron 5 previously when it went out to the public, to the general public in 2014, but they did major updates for the system, and that helped a lot with the Retron 5 users. So yeah, including Super Mario RPG and Star Fox, the effects chip also worked for the system. So I actually, one of the most strongest things about the Retron 5 is this one video, YouTuber that I'll put in the on my Facebook page. I'm gonna prove that the Retron 5 succeeded over this one guy's expectations of the system before it was released. It was actually really, really, really insane to actually see this and have this guy's dreams come true to the Retron 5. It was really crazy. It met all of its expectations. He talked about frame rate, speed up the frame rate. He talked about cheat codes. He talked about many other different things about the Retron 5. And it was actually amazing how everything that he put in his preview of the Retron 5 came to life right before his eyes. And it was just amazing to watch. And he gave it 2 thumbs up on his final verdict of the Retron 5. And it was amazing to watch. Another thing that I got to point out is when you get this system, it's going to change your retro gaming life forever. I mean, even though I have the Retro Duo, I'm still looking forward to the Retron 5 because of all of its features, because this thing doesn't have 3 ports. It only has 1 port for SNES. And, I'm really excited about this thing. I mean, I really am. All of its recent updates, it's a perfect system. But it feels like a little bit of emulating at times. And I feel like the developers of Hyperkin stole some technology from other different companies, but I really don't care about that. But it was Hyperkin's decision to do this, and I'm thankful that they used all the different types of games that are compatible with this system. And it actually is a revolution of clone systems these days. It is the #1 clone system that you can get on the market, and it's one of the best clone systems out there besides the Retro Duo or Retro Duo Portable. It's actually quite amazing to see this game system to become a legendary, a collector's item for many gamers these days. And for most gamers that played the NES and SNES back in the 1980s, they thought they were done for when the NES was crashing and they had problems and they had to do it with the NES too to play their like games on it as well. But overall, the saddest thing is, if you got a brand new TV at home right now, you can't play those old systems anymore because it doesn't feature composite red and white and yellow connectors. It doesn't feature these anymore, except on my brand new TV. Some of you are going to be lucky to get these, but for some of you that don't have these, you're pretty much, you know, screwed for that matter, because, you know, you don't have those types of cable connectors and for your system, and that's why you have to go back to the old TVs, which is a really pain in the neck. But if you have a high definition TV, then I would suggest getting the Retron 5 anyway, because if you want to play all your old games from the 1980s and 1990s, then the Retron 5 is right with you every step of the way. And it's right every step of the way for me too. And, you know, I have high hopes for this gaming system when I get it. I hope it works with every single game in my collection, which this thing pulled off. And it's actually really been a good system, but I want to, you know, upgrade to the Retron 5 because of these concepts. And, you know, one thing that before I go is I got to talk about the video resolutions that you can do with the Retron 5. There are many different types of video resolutions in other reviews of the Retron 5. You can use scan lines, like on those classic TVs. You can use scan lines. It won't affect the gameplay, but it will affect the video as well. You'll be, it's like you'll be seeing from the 1980s like TVs that they did back then. It's actually a really cool concept on an HD TV, because you're like doing this and it's like, and your brain is telling you this is really cool. I wish they did this for other clone consoles, but you know, they couldn't pull it off. So anyway, that's the only thing that I gotta mention is the video quality, the cheat codes, the and they upgraded the audio. I think I already mentioned that they upgraded the audio, but the NES audio sounds really great compared to the Retro Duo. It sounds like a million times better than the Retro Duo's sound quality. So, yeah, those are my expectations. Oh, yeah, the controller that comes with the system. Now, a lot of people that are like really complaining about the controllers that come with the system, I think I'm not going to complain about that because I'm used to the joystick a lot from the DualShock 3. But it has this clicking sound that you like rotate it like around the controller like this and all that stuff. See my thumb like going wee 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 wee. It clicks every time you do this with your thumb, and so yeah, it actually is a really interesting concept, but it actually is quite a cool concept because you're actually like playing with a joystick or something. It actually is a joystick, but a different kind of joystick. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Retron 5. I hope it's a great system when I get it someday, so I can review it for you guys. And so yeah, I'll also upload some YouTube videos onto my Facebook page about that one guy having his expectations of the Retron 5 like perfect. He was gold when he was finished with the review. He gave it 2 thumbs up. And he was actually really excited, like, to get this thing. So yeah, that is all for Retron 5 news. It's a perfect system. You don't have to worry about compatibility issues with this system, except homebrew games, I think, and you know, all that stuff. I don't know what homebrew games are, but I hope they're not a part of the American collection of the NES and SNES and Genesis and the Famacom and the Game Boy. So I hope I don't stumble across those types of games, because if I do, then they're not going to work. But there's 99% compatibility with all games of the system. So that's really a plus. That's actually a huge, huge, huge plus for retro gamers like me that like to collect stuff. So anyway, that is all for news updates of the Retron 5. If you want to see more footage on the Retron 5, then go look up other reviews. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about this system when I get it. So I hope you're excited too, because this is going to be a big moment when I get it. And maybe I'll sell this or something like that, or keep it in my, video game collection console box or something like that. Because, this system was a good system to play NES and SNES games, but the Retron 5 is slightly better because of its features and all that cool stuff. So anyway, that is it for the Retron 5, my thoughts. And I'll get back to you later. And have a fantastic day. I'll be back someday, YouTubers.